Hello, everyone. My name is Brianna Lazat. This is Ethan Graves. We're really excited to play for you guys for breakfast. Thank you so much for having us. And yeah, you're all behind us. Hello. We're going to keep playing some tunes for you guys while we start off our morning.
It's so funny. Sure.
Thank you so much.
Buffet ends at 10. That's all good. Yeah. Okay, cool. I've been informed. Unfortunately, the buffet ends at 10. So if you're still hungry for some grub, go get some grub. Also, again, this is Brianna and Ethan. Thank you for joining us on this rotary stage. Thanks for having us.
Like, that's so funny. Do you want to do the jig number?
Oh, sure.
So I'll just do two jigs. Cool. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
That sounds good.
Okay. If you want the Red River jig, you're gonna have to jig. Here we go. Thank you.
You know what I say? For the last song, we sit in the fancy chairs and we give the other side some work.
No, it's okay. Okay, we can do that.
Nope.
Okay, sorry.
Nope, one more song. Duck dance, let's go.
All right, thank you so much for having us this morning. Maybe we'll do one more just because. Okay. Thank you so much. We're Brianna Lazat, Ethan Graves, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much for having us.
morning, everyone. Good to see all your beautiful faces this morning. We're going to get started. I just wanted to welcome you for our final day of She Heals, She Leads International Indigenous Women's Conference. I would like to ask a round of applause for our wonderful MC this past weekend. Michaela, you're amazing. You did awesome. We're so honored to have you here. And we have another wonderful day for you today. And we're going to have some of our local allies come up today and share their stories and how they've supported and loved and helped dream with us in this community. And so I just wanted to give you all thanks. I hope you have an awesome day. And again, if you need any support throughout the day, we're here for you. And thank you, Michaela. I just wanted to give you thanks for being here.
Thank you, Teresa. Let's put our hands together for the entire team of this weekend's conference. And of course, for Powwow Times. Last night was absolutely amazing. Who enjoyed the show last night? Okay, I don't know if I'm the only one, but I had no idea that it was the World Championships. And this entire time I thought it was like just a powwow. And when I got here, Patrick was like, "Oh yeah, you're VIP for tomorrow." And I was like, "Okay, so does that mean I'm walking in grand entry?" Like, I had no idea. I was like, okay. And then we're sitting there last night. I was sitting with Ali and Rayanna, and we realized where we were. And because we were sitting right behind the MCs, and I was like, I think the whole world can see us right now. We should move. But it was absolutely amazing, and congratulations to all of the dancers, the champions. I could not be a judge because it was so hard, so let's put our hands together for all of their hard work. All right, we're going to get right into our first panel for today on allyship with Kim Verrier and Megan Hansen. They work very closely with Marissa and Patrick and the entire team of the conference. Kim Verrier is the exhibition's curator at the Red Deer Museum and Art Gallery. Kim has always been interested in how museums engage with their community. For the last 10 years, she has led or participated in exhibitions and community programs that have seen the MAG develop strong relationships with Indigenous people, Métis, and immigrant communities in Red Deer. She was the project manager and interpretive writer for the multi-award-winning exhibition Powwow, and was the lead or co-lead volunteer coordinator for Powwow Times' 4 annual international powwows. We can get Kim and Megan to come up now. Mayor Megan Hansen. Oh, Mayor, I am so sorry. I didn't even shake your hand. Mayor Megan Hansen has proudly called Sylvan Lake home for the past 17 years. She was elected mayor in 2021 after serving 2 terms on town council and brings a deep commitment to building strong, connected communities. Her passion for civic life began in her hometown, Castlegar, BC, where she joined her first regional committee at 13 and found her voice through service. Megan believes in leadership that listens, learns, and leaves room for others to rise. She is honored to walk alongside those working to create safer, more inclusive spaces for all women. At home, Megan and her husband, Ryan, are raising their young family, and most days are spent at local rinks and ball diamonds or camping. Me too. So let's put our hands together for Mayor Megan Hansen and Kim Verrier. Do you both have a mic? Oh, no, you got one. I'll give you one too. All right, Kim, I'll let you kick us off. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about the work that you do and how you know Marissa and Patrick and what has led you here to this moment today.
Okay. Dante Atoya, Kim Verrier Net Sigurdsson, Winnipeg at Glasgow, Ochinia. I learned that from Patrick And John Cryer, another local Indigenous gentleman, taught me how to say my name, which is Kim Verrier. Well, I know how to say that, but great in Cree. And then my family has roots in Winnipeg and most recently Glasgow, Scotland. So that is where a lot of my family come from. I have been in the museum world for years, and how I got to meet Patrick and Marissa was Patrick and Marissa submitted in about 2017 the most amazing exhibition proposal that I've ever seen. I've never seen one so nicely written, telling us exactly what their ideas were. And then myself and the executive director at the time, Lorna Johnson, and our exhibitions jury, we looked at it and we're like, oh my God, this is the most amazing exhibit we've ever seen, or proposal. How are we gonna do it, and how are we gonna do it in the right way? And so unfortunately, we ghosted them for about a year as we tried to figure out funding, because there was rules, like we had internal belief system that we would pay for all the Indigenous artisans in the group, that they would get their pay, that everyone who participated would get the proper and the right reimbursement. And so that made it probably one of the most expensive exhibits that we ever did to date. But it has been the best ride that our museum has been on, post Walking with Our Sisters. So.
Amazing. Let's put our hands together. So, Kim, what does allyship mean to you, and how have you contributed to being an ally?
I made notes. So for me, allyship is kind of like, what kind of human do you want to be? And I think that is like the most core being of it, because how you be a good ally is also how you be a good friend. And so for me, it's that. One of the main things that I think about is like listening, especially if we're coming into a place in which we have been we've asked to be invited in as guests, and so we've come in and we're guests, that we listen and we take notes. And when we respond in a good way. And then we support in ways that we know we can support in, or that we have our skill sets in as well. And then you build trust as you go along. And so I think for allyship, it's all those pieces that are really important in building like trust and community and conversations, and yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kim. I'll now let's put our hands together for Kim. I know this is a very touchy subject and difficult to talk about from a non-Indigenous perspective. And the first thing I said, I was like, I want to meet them because I do not want to put them in a position where they're coming up here, two non-Indigenous women, and being like, oh, I've done so much for the community. You know, that's absolutely not what this is, and not how I want it to be perceived. So thank you for showing up and for being brave and having the courage to be here today. Megan, I will allow you to introduce yourself. How do you know Patrick and Marissa? What has led you to this conference today?
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Megan. I've been an elected official in Sylvan Lake for the last 12 years. And through that, I think one of the neatest thing being in that role of mayor, or before mayor, I was on town council, is just being invited to different events in different rooms. And that's where I had the pleasure of meeting them. They have hosted some fantastic events in Sylvan Lake and in Red Deer area. And I think just like you saw their proposal and thought, wow, that's amazing. Every event that I have attended that they have been a part of, I've left thinking, wow, that was amazing. And how do I bring more people to experience this and bring more people to learn? I think one of the neatest things about my role as mayor is it's kind of like having a megaphone. It does give me the opportunity to say things louder than other people may get the chance to do that. So exactly as you said, it's all the qualities of being a good friend, but now I have a megaphone to do it. And it's been so great to invite my community of Sylvan Lake into the things that I've been invited to and have them have that same opportunity to learn and to listen.
And what does allyship mean to you? What does that look like? How do you contribute to being an ally?
To me, I mean, the biggest part of that really is just showing up and being there. I don't know if your grandparents ever shared this, but mine often said, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And that's exactly what it looks like to me. Show up, listening, asking questions and being really curious. Even if sometimes that means, we had a little chat this morning over breakfast, putting your foot in your mouth, and I have done that so many times. I'm so appreciative of the gracious, mostly women, that have put me in my place and said, no, Megan, let me teach you differently. So listening is a really big part of that, and sharing what I learn. I also think that when it comes to situations that aren't right, I also have that megaphone. And one of the favorite phrases that I have been known to say when someone also puts their foot in their mouth, but in a way that is not just a gentle correction, is, no, we don't say that in places like this. And when someone in a seat of authority says that, I do think it goes a long way. And I've had people be really curious to learn why, make apologies, and have really great conversations after I've said that.
Now, I'm going to ask you both a question. Whoever can go first. How can we ensure that Indigenous women's voices are centered rather than spoken for?
I was going to say, inviting them to the table. My role is to be a connector. It's to make sure there's space and to go out of my way to invite the right people to be at the table to have that conversation. It's not to do any of that teaching or conversation myself. It's just making the space.
Can I ditto that? Because I really think that's it's that not about us without us. And if you don't invite the people that you are talking about to the table and to the room, then it's not about them, it's about you, personally. So.
Are there any challenges or barriers that you continue to face with other people in your community when it comes to getting them on board to being allies?
Yes.
What do you do?
This is one of the biggest challenges at times is sometimes you have to continuously tell the stories and show the good and talk about what is really the wonderful aspects that you know. Because so many people come in with perceptions and racism or feelings, and it's like Megan said, it's like, no, well, that's not my experience. That's not how it's done. Or one of my favorite tools that I was given years ago, actually by a huge ally in this community, Andrea, who's not here today, but she's just because she lives in BC, not for any other reason, is this critical thinking cheat sheet. It's like, who do I help? Who do I harm? Who should be here? Who has the authority to talk? And it's such a good resource of thinking that way. And you can find it online. Your family doesn't really appreciate it if you send it to them. Not everyone does. But I did have one cousin was like, ooh, this might actually help. The other one was not so receptive. But we try.
That's all that matters. We continue to try every day. Megan?
Yeah, I think the barrier is sometimes, at least in our municipal world, our systems are just not always set up to consider who needs to be consulted. And I think it's a constant conversation that I'm having around my tables of who have we asked to be here? Is there a place as a part of this event? Can we replace something that we've done for a very long time and make the space for this? And I'm still amazed with how long we've been doing this, how often I still have to have that conversation. I don't think it's a barrier by, trying to think of the right word here. I don't think it's necessarily by intent, but it's not well thought through all the time, and we just have to be that constant reminder to those around our circles of how do we make space and who do we need to invite.
I think for that conversation is, well, we've always done it that way, right? And you get that, but does it have to continue that way, right? There's so many other ways you can try and do something, and I think that's so important. Because I know for ourselves is when we were at the museum, can I tell a story? During walking with our sisters, we had reached out to Corky wave, and we had with walking with our sisters. It was all Indigenous women leaders on this team. And there was protocols and there was ways that we went through. The museum wasn't the authority at this point. It was the community, and this community came over and did that. On our very first community conversation, we always had a way of setting up the museum for an event. And this time we only made coffee and tea, and we had the room in the circle. And we were told the Indigenous community would come, they would bring treats or snacks, and then the conversation would start at 2. And we were used to being set up for any event an hour in advance, right? That was like your standard, you had your ticks of doing. And at 1:30, myself and Lorna and Andrea are standing at the front door waiting to greet people. And at 1:45, we were waiting to greet people, and we were getting nervous, kind of is anyone coming to my party type of event. And all of a sudden, we look up, and the room is full, and it's 2 p.m., and snacks are out, and people are ready to go. And it was such an amazing eye-opener of there is another way. Right? We don't have to be as fastidious in what we think or how we set up a system or a system that's been in long play. There is another way, and it happened every single time. And there are women in this room who were part of that, and it was amazing. And what they taught us was, I can't even express the gratitude we have for that.
Thank you for sharing. I just wanted to actually open it up to the room. Is there anyone in the audience that has any questions for either Kim or Megan? I'll come down to you. Anyone?
Uh-oh.
I feel like we're in trouble here.
I know. Corky's asking a question.
You're definitely not in trouble. We love you, Kim. And we know that time with Walking with Our Sisters was a chaotic time, but that was one time the Indigenous community learned it was that we can build relationship and we can start to trust. And I think the pivotal moment there was when the museum gave us the key and let us come and go as we wished and do our thing. I also believe, when you speak of allyships, that ally is an action word. And I'm kind of careful now when I use the word ally until, like you said, that relationship is built, and once the relationship feels solid, then the trust comes. and then there's no turning back. But I'm tired of the ones who put ally in their land acknowledgement, but really aren't. It's just a word to them. So to me, ally is an action word, and keep people accountable that say they are an ally. Thank you.
Thank you, Corky.
I love that.
Was there anyone else in the room that had a question? Oh, yes, sorry.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you. I've had a lovely weekend. My name is Relina Jobin. I live in Whitehorse as my daughter. We've come to the conference with lots of hope. One of my jobs in Whitehorse is equity and inclusion specialist. And one of the things that I've yet to learn, and I'm just curious, when you mentioned about bringing other people in, one of the hardest things that I have struggled with is bringing in that white privileged male. You know, females tend to be, you know, our biggest allies and do show up, but it's still that resistance that we see, and they're the ones that need to come to the table, that need to come into the training, that need to like open the doors. So I'm just curious on ways that you might have used to work with people, your coworkers or in your circles, of bringing in that male privilege, the white male privilege. So just curious on any thoughts around that. Thank you.
Mine might be easier in the sense I work in a museum and it's very female heavy, and we do have men who are very supportive. So they show up. But I can think of the white privilege men that have supported in our community, like, I don't want to call their names, but they are the ones. But I would think, Megan, you might.
It's a bit of a tough answer, because in some ways, if they're coming in with that energy, they're not the right person to be around the table, is really what it comes down to. And on these types of projects, we want everyone to feel comfortable. We want their voices to be heard. And if there is someone that comes in that's working against our goal, they are probably just not the right person to be there. We need to invite more people who understand, who are supporting and championing the right things around the table. And when their voices get loud enough, the other ones don't matter.
That was a very good question. Thank you. I'll take one more question.
Thank you so much for sharing. I don't know how to put this in. I was sharing this morning about Indigenous visibility. And one day I was driving, I was coming back from Regina to Edmonton, and I seen this sign, "Welcome to Treaty 4." And I had to stop, because we've been invisible for so long. And so when I was driving back to take a picture of the Treaty 4, I see Treaty 6, I seen welcome to Treaty 4 heading back to Regina. And I thought, oh my God. So I took a picture, and I was so, in awe, because we'd been invisible for so long. And I'm old, that's why I say 6 decades. And so part of me, every time when I do go, into a city or into, a small town, or, I always look for that Indigenous, whether it's a picture, whether it's a history, whether it's, something that presents that there was Indigenous people there. Just recently, Fort Saskatchewan, Sherwood Park, approached me, and they had never had a round dance. And so Creating Hope Society partnered up with them to do a round dance. and to bring art and round dance together. And it was very powerful because a lot of them had never, they didn't know the history of, they didn't know the history of where they were living. Were they Indigenous people there before? Were they the Métis people? Were they the Cree people? And so part of me is always interesting about what do you do around history, of Indigenous people, whether it's at Sylvan Lake or whether it's in Red Deer, right? And how do you make sure that Indigenous people are visible? Because it's really important for our children, our grandchildren, because when I was young, I never seen any Indigenous people, And when we'd see each other, oh my God, we'd stare at each other going, oh my God, brown person just like me, And so for me, it's really important about visibility.
I really appreciate, thank you. I really appreciate you sharing that, and I'll share a Sylvan Lake story. That is exactly why every municipal building that we own as a community has a Métis and a treaty flag in it, and it was exactly that. I had a gentleman who came and had a conversation with me and said, I don't know, or I don't typically attend sporting facilities and feel like I have a place there. And we had a conversation about how we could improve that on a municipal level. And within months, we had a gorgeous ceremony, and every one of our buildings now has that symbol because that story was shared on a personal level. So please do keep sharing it. I think that encourages others to fall in line as well. In a separate conversation, we had someone around our table share a story about street naming. And we were a community that just a couple of weeks ago went through with a street naming policy that also allows for our streets to have prominent Indigenous names so that we can ensure you do look around and feel like this is a community. But I'm not sure that that's something that would happen unless someone shares it, and that's not how it should be. But I just want to say I really appreciate you sharing that story. Please keep doing it. That's how change happens.
Kim, did you have anything else to add? Yeah.
We are very lucky in Red Deer. We've had a number of round dances. I attended my very first one a few years ago. We have beautiful street art done by some amazing artisans out there. You might have to go look, but if you want to know where they are, I can tell you. So we're very fortunate that way. And I think one of the biggest strengths in our city is Red Deer Indigenous Dance Troupe, UIVS, Urban Indigenous Voices Society, Red Deer Native Friendship Center, and I'm gonna miss the one that Racing to me is at. Oh my goodness.
It's okay.
But we have such strong leaders in there from all over, and I think that's such a beautiful story too, because Red Deer is in Treaty 6 and Treaty 7 territories, and so the amount of teachings we have received is huge, because we get people from all over.
Well, I wanted to open up questions to the room this time because I feel like this conversation is more of a community conversation, and it's important to get both perspectives and both sides when we're talking about allyship. So thank you to our speakers. Let's put our hands together for Megan and Kim. All right, we have another very special panel next on team building. If I could get Tamara and Rahira, am I saying it right? Rahira Brown to come to the stage. Rahira and Tamara Taka Brown, raised in, I'm so sorry, I want to say, Aotearoa, New Zealand, embody the She Leads, She Healed spirit, guided by strong, I'm going to say this, I don't. Maori. Oh, I've been wanting to know how to say that.
Whānau, family.
Whānau. Okay, thank you. Or family values in Maori culture, they continue to pave their financial freedom path, purchasing their first property together in 2023. Their shared journey aims to inspire Indigenous women across Canada, the USA, and New Zealand. In their careers, Rahira empowers our youth as a sports administrator, fostering community strength through sports and cultural values. Tamara leads in public health, leveraging her expertise to champion Maori values, striving for a system responsive to Maori needs. Together, they have traveled the world through Wakaama, taking their language, sport, and performances to the world. Sharing their dreams, lessons, and worldview is both an honor and a privilege. Please put our hands together. Oh, you're going to moderate. Perfect. Perfect.
So thank you, Michaela. Tēnā tātou katoa e ngā raurangatira mā. Ko Rachel Petero tōku ingoa. My name is Rachel Petero, and I'm the auntie of these two beautiful wahine from Aotearoa, New Zealand. And so I'm going to moderate. I've got two jobs. I've got to do the moderation, and then I'm going to do a keynote for you. Is that okay? Hapai. So I'll do another introduction after I've done this panel discussion. So firstly, this is one of my dreams, is to have my whānau, my family, alongside me in my business. And now I get to be on a panel with my nieces. And so it really is a dream of mine that I'm always with family wherever I am in the world. So congratulations, girls. You've made Auntie's dreams come true. So yeah, the other thing is this is Tamara and Rahira's first ever time on the stage. And it's their auntie that's always saying, you can do it. So let's give them a big round of applause for being their first time. And so I'm just going to give you a little bit of context about Aotearoa, New Zealand. Hands up who has been to Aotearoa, New Zealand. Wonderful, awesome. For the rest of you, we're going to create an event so you can come and see us in Aotearoa. So Aotearoa, New Zealand, we are the Indigenous people of Aotearoa. We are Māori. Can everyone say Māori? Yes, you've got to roll your R's. Māori. Ka pai. And since 1840, February the 6th, Māori signed a treaty with the Crown. That's the British Crown. We have one treaty, yeah, and that is what keeps our government accountable to Indigenous Māori of Aotearoa. And we are fighters. We are warriors. And often our women, our wahine, are leading those fights. But we also need our tāne, our men alongside us. Our census that we do every year says that, or every 3 years, says that there are just under 800,000, 900,000 Māori in New Zealand. Our population is just over 5 million. So we are 1/5 of our population. The biggest region in Aotearoa for jobs is Auckland. And you will fly into Auckland when you all come to visit us. We all grew up in Auckland. Yeah, we didn't grow up on our tribal lands. And many of our people were displaced from their tribal lands, as you have been, and we have had to find our way back. But the good news is that through all of the work of our ancestors, all of the work of Tamara and Rahera's great ancestors, they get to sit here today because of the work that our ancestors have done for them. And so today we want to really share with you what grandchildren look like today in our culture, as a Māori culture, in terms of finding their financial independence. So that's what today is about. I know it says team building, but actually it's really about family and how we have moved forward since that time. So I'm going to get Tamara to introduce herself first. Yeah.
Hello. Kia ora. Ko taupiri te maunga, ko Waikato te awa, ko Tainui te waka, ko Tainui te iwi, ko Ngāti Tipa me Ngāti Tamaoho te hapu, ko Mangatangi me Ōrairo Oku Marae. Ai, no Waikato Tainui ahau. Yeah. Taupiri is my maunga, Waikato's my awa, my people are from Tainui, and yeah, that's me. In terms of schooling and work, I finished high school. I finished my last year of high school in Rumakireo, so a language school. Went on to university to study health science. At that time, I didn't know what I wanted to do for work, so I was just going with it. And then I'll just figure it out on the way. Then got a job in public health, liked it, done a graduate diploma in environmental health, and yeah, I've been there for 9 years now. Cool, that's me.
Over to you, Rahera.
Tēnā rā koutou, I'm Rahera. Same as Tamara, I went through Ngāpuno Waiora Western Springs College, and that's where I work now, as a sports admin, working with youth, engaging them into sports.
Anything else? Ka pai. So the girls have two brothers. Yeah, they are. So Tamara, how old are you? Yeah.
31.
Ka pai. Rahera?
25.
25. They have a 23 and a 27-year-old brothers. And about 2 years ago, they were all living still with their parents. And I thought, and how might I be able to help them to create their own financial independence and go and get their own property in Auckland? And many people will say to you, it's too expensive in Auckland. You can't afford a property in Auckland, especially as young women under 30. Well, I have another thought to that, and it's a mindset. It's a mindset for people to tell us that we can't do something. Yeah? So basically, we set about a family or a whānau aspiration that all 4 children would have their own properties in Auckland or in New Zealand before they were 30. Yeah? And so that's the whānau aspiration. As a family, as a whānau, we have seen our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents save and work hard to get their own properties. So when you see it, you can be it. So they already had examples of what potential financial independence could look like as property owners. So that's the context, that's where we started with the mindset. All 4 children, all 4 grandchildren will have their own properties before they are 30. So, Tamararahira, how did your whānau support you in that aspiration to own your own properties? Who would like to start?
Mōku ake for me, our whānau supported us through each step of the way to getting our own property. I think of a whakatauki, a proverb that we use back home. Mā te pā, te tamaiti, e whakatipu ana. So it takes a village to raise a child. And for us, yeah, it really did. We had our Auntie Rachel who planted the seed for us, guided us through each step of the way. Our grandparents lended us a little loan, which we are paying back. And yeah, we had the support from our parents, our cousins, our mates, and our brothers. They couldn't wait to get us out of the house. And yeah, that's how our whānau supported us.
Yeah, I think for me, I always said I'd never move out of home because it was just too easy to be at home. Didn't have to pay rent, barely had to do my washing, Mum would do it. So when Auntie told us, she told us that we're going to be going through this process, I was like, nah, too hard. But anyways, we got there in the end, so yeah, it's good.
And the first time you went through the process, what happened?
We got the whole decline. So, yeah, there was one time where we tried, we had got all of the papers, got a, what do you call them? Mortgage broker, went to the bank and all that, but we just didn't have enough money at that time. And so we got declined. Then we waited like another year and a bit, I think it was. And we tried again. It was just random. Auntie came and just said, all right, we're going to try again. And I was like, oh, here we go. But the second time around, obviously we got it. And I think the difference between the first and the second time was that we just made big improvements with ourselves. We went up a level in terms of work and pay. We had clean bank accounts, and yeah, we were just in a better mindset to move forward.
So, hi. Anything else that I heard of? No? And so when I talk about mindset, a lot of people go through processes, you fail, you don't go again. Yeah, and what I'm really trying to teach, and all of us are trying, the community, the village is trying to teach them that we will fail. Yeah, but you've got to keep going. You've got to get back into the process. And so they learn to have clean bank accounts and not have afterpay before they go and get their next mortgage. Yeah, they learned all these things.
That wasn't me, by the way.
Yeah, yes. They learned these things. And those are the lessons that we want them to learn so that they can be independent, not only in this process, but actually in anything that they do in life. Yeah, because we're always going to be knocked back, especially as Indigenous. and young Indigenous women, where everyone's saying it's too expensive, you won't be able to do it. It has inspired their friends, it has inspired their friends to come together as families, to do this for themselves. So, we're here. How long ago did you get your property, Rahera?
2 years ago.
Yay!
Yeah, we're in our second year.
Yeah. So now what? What are you looking forward to as you think about your financial independence together as sisters, as a whānau? Rahera? O Tamara?
Investment properties now. So, hold on. Yeah, investment properties. Purchasing another home and making that home work for us. Like having a little side hustle, I guess, if you call that. Where even for my immediate whānau, so like my mum, dad and brothers, we're already talking about turning our current home into a papakainga. We live in this city and it'll be a lot to sell and then try and buy again in Auckland. So the idea for us now is to add properties onto what we've already got, and either we buy another one, my brothers buy some. That makes it sound like we're going to have heaps. There's only probably going to be like 4 maybe. And then, we can rent out another one. So I think it's called passive income.
Passive income, yes.
Passive incomes, And it's funny because we had a meeting about this like a few weeks ago. And my youngest brother, because he's grown up in that house, he was like a bit standoffish at first at the idea because he didn't want to, because that's all he's known. And so he didn't want to like switch it up kind of thing. In the current home, there's been no kitchen for a while, and that's all he's known. And so, he was like, this is perfect, it's all good. But I think, like what my auntie said, it'll be nice for my mum and dad to have a kitchen. Or, improve on the house, expand, and also have something there so that my mum and dad know that when they're gone, we'll be all good.
You will be all good. And Rahera, when Auntie came to you and said, we're going to do this, did you believe me?
Not at all.
Not at all. But guess what? You're here now. And if you were to describe or use a word that describes how you feel about where you're at, where you're going, what's a word that you would use, Rahera?
Not to be whakahihi, but I would say accomplished.
Yeah, awesome. What's your word, Tamara, as we start to wrap up?
Empowered, I think.
Ka pai. And so as we start to wrap up this part of our panel, I wondered if there is a question, anything that you would like to ask before I step into my keynote. So open to questions, pop your hand up and we can come and ask. Oh, thank you.
Of course. Who am I going to? Here? Yeah, first. Oh, sure.
Hello, ladies. Welcome.
Kia ora.
What is a papakaia?
So a papakainga is, so it's like your version of a reservation or a reservation? Yeah, so it's just going to be like a few houses in one area. Because right now we got the main house and that's a bit, getting a bit old. Like there's a few leaks and all that jazz. But we're going to be looking at getting a few houses in on our land.
And great question, because papakainga building is actually a really big thing for Māori families to do now. intergenerationally. So having family live together, you know, grandma, aunties, brothers, sisters, it's the thing to do now, versus us being displaced in urban areas. But I think the difference is here that we can actually do it in urban areas as well. Yeah, because that's all they've known growing up in Auckland. And so why not turn that piece of land into their papa kāinga, because they already still have links back to their tribal nation, so they can have the best of both, where they work, but also where they connect back to their tribe. Kapai?
I think there was a question here, right?
Thank you so much for sharing. And, you know, ownership was never part of our culture. And, you know, we look at the history, the Indian Act, and et cetera, et cetera. And one of the biggest things that I didn't get my first home till I was in my 40s. And because ownership, that was never shown to us, right? And on the reserve, we don't own our home. It belongs to the government, and the federal government, that is. So when you started this program with the young people, how did you get funding? Like how did you get that started, like for the young people? Because I believe that everybody should own their own home. And I have a declaration. It's an Aboriginal home for every Aboriginal child in care by 2025. And my vision was always to have, you know, foster children living in a home and never having to leave. And it would be the foster parents that would be leaving, and those homes would belong to the children. And because we have so many children in care, you know, why not create something like that for our foster children, you know, so that they can feel that they have a home fire.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. So there's actually a lot of access for young people in Aotearoa in New Zealand, and that's initiatives that have been driven by Māori to keep government accountable to ownership of homes and land. Because the reality is, we used to own 100% of our land pre-settlement. We now own only 11% of the land in Aotearoa. It's either in government land or it's in private ownership. So we don't have as much land, but what we do have and what we are acquiring, we are making sure that we're setting up papa kāinga for our next generation. So actually, you know, whether I am doing something with family, with wider groups of tribal areas, we actually have a lot of access now through the fight of keeping government, federal government, central government accountable to the treaty. So that's how we've been able to do it. And things like less deposit is required from the girls because that's their first home, and coming together. And you have many families coming together of intergenerational families to go for those financial benefits that are there to serve us. So we need to bring some of those regulations and legislations here as well. So happy to share those programs.
I've been to Auckland, by the way. So I was in New Zealand, and when I rented a car, I didn't realize I had to drive on the right side.
Yes, be safe when you come to New Zealand, whānau. Drive on the opposite side. Great. I think that's it.
How are we for time? Are we out?
Yeah.
All right. Let's put our hands together for our amazing visitors all the way from New Zealand.
Thank you. So I'm just going to carry on with the keynote now.
And you can carry on. She is our closing keynote for the conference, Rachel Patero.
Thank you. So I'm going to invite the rest of our delegation up, which is Italy and Okalani, just to sit with me, sit with us. We've traveled together. We love to be together. Dylan, you're my savior. Thank you. Oh, yeah, great. So welcome up onto the stage. So firstly, a big round of applause for Rahera Tamara for their first time on the stage. Yay! I'm so happy. Yeah, it makes my heart sing. And to Italy and Okalani, who were on the stage yesterday. Weren't they amazing? Thank you. And then my next shout out has to be to the power couple, Marissa and Patrick, for last night's powwow. Amazing. So it's a real privilege and honour, and I'd like to start in my language, in my reo, te reo Māori. It's a taonga, so... Tuia te rangi e tui oho nei, tuia te rangi, tuia te papa e takoto ake nei, tuia te here tangata, ka rongo te pō, ka rongo te ao, pūa taka taka, pūa wheo wheo, pū ake te manawa whenua. He mana waiora ki take take, he mana marama no take take. Tēnei take take ka whiwhia, tēnei take take ka rawea, tēnei take take ka whakamau. Tūturu o whiti whakamaua kia tīna, haumi e hui e, mauri ora kia tātou. Ko waikato te iwi, ko waikato te awa, he piko he taniwha, he piko he taniwha. Ko taupiri te maunga, ko te whero te tangata, ko tainui te waka, ko Rachel te rau e wha Petero tōku ingoa. Ko Ngāti Tamoho, ko Ngāti Whawhākia, ko Ngāti Tahinga, ko Ngāti Te Ata Oku Hapu, ko Mangatangi te marae, ko Mangatangi te awa, ko Maungaro te maunga. Ko David Raua, ko Caroline Taka Oku Mātua, ko Pānia tōku taina, anei ngā tamāhine o Pānia, nō reira tēnā rā tātou katoa. So in my opening, in my reo, te reo Māori, again, we have fought for our language. It could have been extinct 53 years ago. There was a petition by some very brave Māori men and women who went to government to make sure that our language was one of 3 of the official languages of Aotearoa, New Zealand. So we give thanks, we're grateful. And so my nieces and nephews, Italy's children get to grow up from the puku, from the pito, within the kōpū of our wahine, our women, right through to their university years in their language. Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing. They don't know anything different. And that is what we want for our children. And so language, whatever language that you have, it is beautiful. Yeah, it is your ancestors' dreams come true when we are using their language, our language. And if it's one word, use that word. If it's many words, use many words. Yeah, and share that language with the world. So I've put up some ways to connect so that we can stay connected. I love connecting. So Insta and also LinkedIn, if you're a professional woman, let's stay connected. But today I want to talk about this word, hua. And can everyone say hua? Hua. It means abundance, but it's not a direct correlation. We don't have direct literal correlations of English to te reo Māori. But if we were to have a translation, this is what it would mean. And I want to acknowledge all of the panelists, everyone that stood here on the stage, everyone that came to the last 2 days. There was abundance and hua in the pain, in the stories that I heard over the last 2 days. And I just want to acknowledge that because it can be heavy. It can be heavy. But if we look at it from a different perspective, there can be abundance and learning in all of that pain. And I want to take us to this side, to the light. Yeah, I want to take us to hua. Hua is also energy. It's also our environment. It's also our mindset. It's presence. It's the stars. It's the water. And so surrounding ourselves with hua is how we together as Indigenous women, it's how we grow, it's how we learn. Yeah, when we understand in the pain, yeah, there's also hua. So I just want to connect through some of our philosophies that don't sit alone. They sit together. And so one of the ways that we connect, we use the word whanaungatanga. You heard me using whānau as family. This is where that word comes from. It's how we connect. Manaakitanga. Can everyone say manaakitanga? That's our word for taking care, yeah, of each other, of the land, of the people, of the place. Does anyone recognize that beautiful woman there, Marissa? It's another word that we use. It's kotahitanga. It's about how we unite together. And we had the privilege of having Marissa, Kayla and Shana over in Aotearoa in 2024. And they were just so amazing. So we had to come back and reciprocate, yeah, what they had done and how they had come to Aotearoa, New Zealand, to support our kaupapa, our initiatives. And the last one I want to share is tino rangatiratanga. So it's how we lead. Yeah, it's how we embody our sovereignty. It's how we say, no, 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 not today, colonizer. Yeah, it's how we lead from a place of hua, from a place of abundance. Yeah, we know who we are. We know where we're from. We know what our canoe was that brought us from Hawaii all the way to Aotearoa and dropped our relatives in Samoa, some of them, in Rarotonga, in Tahiti, in Tonga. We know who we are. We know where we stand, and we're not afraid to step forward and lead when we know that it's going to serve our mokopuna, our grandchildren, our unborn grandchildren. So we talk about making mokopuna decisions, grandchildren decisions now in Aotearoa. So everything that we do, it must be to benefit them. If it doesn't, why are we doing it? We've gotten over ourselves, yeah, and we're now in service, yeah, in service of our next generation. So that's me when I was 1 year old. And my belief, just like I believe that the girls and our whānau aspiration for all 4 of my nieces and nephews to have a property, it's going to happen because we have a belief. So we are born, my belief is we are born abundant. And at the end of our lives, we return to abundance. And in between, we have this tricky thing called life that we have to navigate. My sister and I, we enter this world and we grow up and we generate these things called fears. Yeah, and what we want to be able to do is turn those fears into freedom. Yeah, where we are walking in the footsteps, standing on the shoulders of our ancestors who did all of the work. And that's our job too, as we stand here today. I went from having, a boyfriend who broke my heart to finding love. Yeah, in my husband, in this man, John Pedero. And as an iwi, as Waikato, we went from 1.3 million hectares of confiscated land to becoming a collective of 90,000 tribal members who have a balance sheet of $2 billion. And that comes from being a collective. And when I talk about the dollars are a resource. They're not what we're focused on. We're focused on well-being. We're focused on intergenerational change. We're focused on getting our kids into education. We're focused on their financial independence. And we're focused on helping them to lead from their generation because it looks different to ours. As long as they've got the foundations of who they are, where they're from, they will make the right decisions. We've just got to get out of the way sometimes. And I know sometimes I get in their way. Intentionally. So we live as Indigenous in multiple worlds, but actually we live in this world of duality. Where there is death, there is life. So when there are things that are happening to us that don't quite go to plan, often we get stuck. So I'd like you to turn to your table and ask each other this question. Where and with who are you spending your energy? So have the conversation. You've got 1 minute. Don't muck around. Have the conversation. Be honest with each other because the next question is coming. And when we're talking about energy, we're talking about hua. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to Italy and to Okalani. I'm thinking of your sister. Where and with who are you spending your energy, Okalani?
I think in this season, it's within the South. I think I really, truly believe that you cannot pour from an empty cup. And when you are pouring, you should be pouring from the overflow within your cup, not a full cup. So that is where I'm spending my energy.
Boom. Love that. Italy, where are you? And who are you spending time with and your energy?
My family. Springtime is a busy time for us. We're usually harvesting a lot of food, planting food, getting gardens ready. So that's where a lot of my energy is going to be focusing on when I get home.
Beautiful. Tamara, where are you spending your energy?
On myself at the gym.
Very good. I love that. CrossFit. Tahira?
I'm spending my time with friends and whānau, catching up before the busy season with Christmas, holidays, and
Oh, bye. Awesome. Okay, next question. Here we go. Are the people and the places and spaces that you're spending your energy with expanding or depleting your energy? Are they expanding or depleting your energy? Have a conversation. Awesome. I'm glad you're having the conversation. And it's something to think about, where we place our energy. Would anyone like to share about their conversation? Who's brave? Who's courageous? Yay! Thank you. What's your name? Introduce yourself.
My name's Mary Jane Sauvé. I'm a nurse manager in northern Saskatchewan. 12 hours from here, I came here to enjoy this, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So I'm driving back to my community, and my days are very, very hectic. We have a lot of, traumas and always something going on every single day. So my day is full of trying to manage a huge team of nurses and a very, very difficult community. So every hour, there's something else I have to focus on. And what I do at the end of the day is what I enjoy. I have a handful of nurses that love to come out in nature with me. So we kayak, we snowshoe, we're in the bush, we're yelling, we're screaming, and it's like our working vacation. So that's what I do.
Yay! Finding those spaces and places, that expand our energy. Beautiful. And I'm sure all of you, if you're not, you need to start. So at any one time, we can be traversing the past, the present, and the future effortlessly. I find myself, I'll be at a funeral in the morning, I'll be in a government meeting in the afternoon, and I'll be coaching and mentoring women who are moving into the future in the matter of 3 or 4 hours. And you know what? When we're doing things that are on purpose, it's effortless. It just flows. It doesn't feel like work. I don't want to work. I want to make an impact. I want to have beautiful women around me so that we can dream together. That's what I want. And so we find ourselves traversing. Some people find it effortless. Some people may find it a little bit harder. So what do we have to do about it? So the beautiful keynote yesterday, she was talking about accountability. I loved her. I'm going to expand on that and use this model that we use in our coaching called ora. Can everyone say ora? Roll your R's. Ora. Hey. So ora in Te Reo Māori means well-being. It means being well. So in order for us to be well and traverse the past, the present, and the future, we need to be well. How do we do that? We need to take ownership. Ooh, scary word. Of everything, that we have in our life. We need to take responsibility of that ownership, and we need to take accountability. If we can learn these 3 things, it's effortless. But it means looking at ourselves and saying, oh, yeah, that was me. That was me that judged that person when they were doing X, Y, Z. That was me that didn't talk to my husband in a loving and nurturing way. I'm going to take responsibility, and I'm going to say, sorry, babe. That wasn't nice. That wasn't kind. And it often means saying sorry. And so we need to learn these things, because actually I wasn't taught that as I was growing up. I had to learn it. I didn't see that openly in my growing up. And it's no one's fault. It's just how we traverse the world, in that generation. But we're trying to, and we are, helping our next generation to learn these principles. If we want to be well, take ownership, take responsibility, and make sure that we're accountable for our actions. The other thing we need to learn to say, wahine mā, and I've become really good at it, is learning to say no and not having to justify it. It's just a no. And why do we have to say no? Because it clears the space for the yeses, that you are taking up all of that space because you're not saying no. So the yeses can't come flowing in. So we need to learn to say no. It's okay. But it's a skill. It's like a muscle. We have to learn to use it, yeah, in a good way. Because then it takes care of our order, and then we allow space for all of those yeses to come flowing in. And so then what happens? Then we rise. And so 10 years ago, actually next month, we're going to Bali as a team to celebrate Rise. It's our 10-year anniversary of being in business. Yeah. So 10 years ago, I started Rise in New Zealand after being abroad for 16 years. I lived in London with my husband. He's an engineer. He got us there. And we had a great time. Yeah. So amazing. Visited 30 countries, lived in another country. Yes, the colonial country that confiscated our land, but I was able to navigate that world quite easily, actually. And I decided to start a coaching business for Indigenous women, training Indigenous women to become Indigenous coaches 10 years ago. No one knew what I was talking about. They were like, what's that? Get an executive coach. I've had executive coaches. None of them looked like me. None of them sounded like me. None of them knew my context. None of them used my language. And so we started, and 2 years ago, we rebranded, and now Rise is a brand, and it's global, and we're on a mission to help Indigenous women rise in leadership, in business, and in coaching. And so our dream is to see as many wahine or women as possible dreaming big and doing well. Notice the language is really simple. You don't have to think about it. And actually, you get to decide what your dream is and what doing well is all about. Yeah, we're not going to tell you, especially as we're coaches. You're going to do the heavy lifting, because that's what coaching is all about. We worked out after 10 years of feedback that the women that come to us, they're ambitious. They're cultured, they're heartfelt, and they do things with flair and sass. And they're absolutely the women that come to our programs. And we learned that after getting 7 years of feedback. We couldn't do this work unless we put ourselves forward, got feedback, listened to the feedback, and now we know who comes to our programs. And if you're not this person, it's okay. We'll make sure that we find something else for you. We then were able to bring everything together that talks about who we are, what we do, why we get up in the morning on one page. That is a founder and a CEO's dream, to bring everything together into one. But it takes time. It takes effort. It takes you leading and deciding that you want something different. And so we went through a process. I hope you can notice things like the brand and the I. We wanted to say, hey, could that be something that maybe First Nations or Native Americans could identify with in the brand? We made sure that all of our branding had colour, was vibrant, had patterns that meant something, and all these 3 patterns, or this pattern, is about a manu or a bird, and how we can fly solo sometimes, but often we need to come together as a flock, and then we need to migrate forward. And then from that, from saying no and leaving space for the yeses, we then created Tahi, which means one, the first Indigenous coaching program that is now internationally accredited by the International Coach Federation in the US. It's the only one. It's the only Indigenous program. And I'd been searching for this 10 years ago, and now we have it. Our teachings are all in our Indigenous ways of being. It's about preparing the ground that you start from. It's about understanding what are the new shoots of new awareness that you bring as you go through this journey with us. It's about growing awareness of self, first and foremost. How can we lead others if we haven't got and haven't learnt about how we lead ourselves? It's about then growing awareness of others. Yeah. How do you show up in these spaces when you are surrounded by others? It's about, after all of that, standing upright as a rākau, as a tree of your choice that you've planted in the ground. And then it's about the future seeds, yeah, the puawai, the flowers, the blossoming that comes after you've done all that heavy lifting and all that work. And then from that comes iwi, Indigenous Women in Industry, that we started in 2024 in Rotorua with 250, including Marissa and her tribal sisters. We then have just come from Vancouver before we came here to launch iwi 2026, which will be held in Vancouver in September, on the 29th and the 30th of September next year. And then in 2027, we're going to have the Indigenous Women in Industry International Business Awards, because we do not recognize in this world Indigenous women in business. So we had to create it. And so all of these things come from saying no. No to the things that are taking you off track. No to the things that are taking you off your purpose, and allowing all of these yeses to come into your space. And I wanted to share that because it's such a great time at this time in history to step into these spaces. Yeah. And when I say business or industry, education, healthcare, community, that's industry. Yeah, I'm not talking about just products. Yeah, often people think business and they think products. No, art, trade, that's how we traded. So all of these things have come from that. So I have a whakatauki or a proverb, and this is it. Mehe mea ka moemoe a hau kua hau anake. Mehe mea ka moemoe a tātou ka taia e tātou. If I dream by myself, I'm dreaming alone. But if we all dream together, we shall achieve. And this comes from one of our rangatira from Waikato. Her name was Te Puia Herangi, and this is her whakatauki. And I've taken this with me all around the world when I often get a bit scared to dream. Yeah, when I get a little bit like, oh, should I do it? Then I let it go, put it out into the world, and then run after it and bring other people with me. And so this is what guides me. So far, we've been working hard. There's over 10,000 women, all Indigenous, who have come through our programs, and a few good men too. And we are open. We've got two spirits. We've got women from Haida, Canada, Colombia, Chile. They're all with us. I've had 10 jobs in my life, but this absolutely isn't a job, running your own business. I've had 5 decades, learning, growing, making mistakes, falling. I've lived in 4 countries. I've had 3 businesses. 2 of them failed. All good. I've had 2 boyfriends. And I only have one vision, and that is to help Indigenous women to rise. And this is one of the things that I've learned. That actually, You can make the decision before you know how it's going to work out. And that's like a secret of mine, because often what we get stuck on is the how. How am I going to do it? How's it going to work? On and on and on. Then you don't do it. Then someone says, oh no, you should be a little bit careful about that idea, and you don't do it. Stop that. Make a decision based on the why, based on the what. Work it out later. The how is just logistics. That's my mindset. The how is just logistics. How am I going to, yeah. It goes on and on. So it's a real secret of mine is to actually make the decision. This is a mindset thing before you know how. Otherwise, you get stuck and nothing happens and you have the same thing every day and you get the same results. Yeah. Get masterful at the why and the what. The rest is logistics. So, as I'm heading towards the closing, lots of pictures. I think we love pictures. Mokopuna, grandchildren decisions is what we are doing now. Especially, you'll hear a lot of that in Aotearoa. That is setting up the whakapapa or the genealogy for their great-great-great-grandchildren. It gives us peace of mind. Hauora or ora. We need to take care of ourselves. One of the ways that I've done it is to re-immerse myself in my reo. So I've spent the last year having a sabbatical out of my business and going to a total immersion university, an Indigenous university, about 1 hour flight from Auckland. And that was this year. It totally shifted my energy, my hua, and my reo. And it's opened the window for more in terms of rise. My husband and I continuing to work on our relationship, continuing to love each other, and now in a more holistic Te Ao Māori Indigenous way. And on that note, everyone, I'm going to end, and we're going to do a performance, a little song for you as we end, and then we will do, I'll come to you, Dylan, when I'm ready for the song, all good? But we're going to do something first. So, nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā rā tātou katoa.
Can we please put our hands together one last time for these powerful, amazing women? They've traveled so far to be here with us and to share their song, their dance, and their energy with us. I don't know about you, but these past couple of days have been nothing but emotional, but in a good way. And there's no other group of women that I'd rather have experienced this conference with. I've been trying really hard for the past couple of days not to cry, so I know when I get home I'm gonna be letting it all out. It has been an absolute honor to be your MC and to share the stage with such powerful women and share the room with all of you. I hope that you learned a lot, you made new friends, you were able to grow and heal or find something to put in your toolkits to take home for your children, your family, your communities. I wanted to invite the entire team up on the stage, from Powwow Times, from She Heals, She Leads, everyone that has worked so hard in putting this event together for the first time. It has gone so smoothly. You've put so much, your heart and soul into this, and everyone can see it, everyone can feel it. So thank you. Come to the middle, come to the middle. Is this everyone? Okay. These are the beautiful people behind She Heals, She Leads. Please put your hands together for all of them. Give them your lele's, your cheers, their love, the energy. Thank you. Good. Did any of you want to say anything for closing? Yeah, perfect.
Do you want to say something for closing, or do I end with the Patrick? Okay. Wow. This has been such a beautiful event for our community, and I believe it's made our community stronger. I really want to thank these individuals standing here for everything they have done in the past for our community, for everything they're doing in our community, and everything they will continue to do. I want to thank each and every one of you that traveled here from your home fires, and this last prayer will be to bring you home in a good way and let you know that this community holds a lot of love, and we invite you. We invite you to come spend time in this community, come to our feasts, come to our ceremonies. Know that you will always be welcome. Hai hai. He me koe gins koe on tigas on the tanako boki biski. Red cloth woman is what I go by, and I give thanks for the gift of this beautiful, beautiful day. Give thanks for what we have, for our lives, our families, our bodies, the air that we breathe, the water that we drink, the teachings we've been given to live by, the teachings that survive that we can still live by today. I acknowledge all the ones who walked on this land a long time ago and the ones who continue to walk here today. I give thanks for morning song to go home.
Before everybody heads out and gets ready to go home today, we just want to invite you to fill your bellies before you do that. And again, just thank you so much. Hi, hi.
I'd also like to thank all of the volunteers that have contributed to the event as well. We know this could not have been possible without our volunteers, and of course the Red Deer Resort and Casino. Thank you for your hospitality. All right, everyone stand up. Turn to the person beside you. Give them a big hug and say thank you. I love you. Now we can go eat.
Hello.